Good position. You had around 15 seconds to think about what you should do from the long corner, yet you stopped the ball with your body shape facing the pass, your head down. You need to stop the ball so you can make your number one pass if it's on. You're clearly the free man on turnover, so an easy pass option. You took too long to get your pass off and it was a bit far in front of Carl. What interests me here is why you exposed the ball by turning clockwise when you could have been turning counterclockwise. You should be leaving that to Carl and moving out into the B channel. You've effectively taken him out of the game and reduced their options. The body shape on that first touch is all wrong. You need to work on that first touch and start making space for others. Poor first touch and a weak pass to start the move which Robert rescues. Good play creates the 3v2 and good to see Robert cutting in and staying inside. Poor control meant that the initial pass had gone, but you try to force it through three defenders. Richard was the clear option. Don't force it. You're in the channel we want you in, so I'm not sure why you're moving sideways as the ball approaches. You then try to force a pass. We want you to be driving onto the ball, and when nothing is on, recycle it, as you subsequently do with the free. Excellent supporting position. First touch isn't good, and you make Andy's job much more difficult with a slow-paced downbuster. You should be nailing a stop outside the root foot and immediate sharp pass open side. Again, excellent supporting position, but where should your first touch have taken you? Obvious pass is a straight one to Alan. You've just made your next move more difficult. You do really well here, but if you'd picked the ball up facing the goal and driven into the space, the defender would not have been able to get back and block your shot. If he touched you, it would have been a penalty stroke. You need to work on using your first touch to set up the next action. Carl waits for you to get back. When it comes back from Alan, you're not facing the way you should be going. You need to let that ball go across you and beat the guy on his reverse side. You bide your time, you make a great late run. However, you don't seem to know where the forwards are and your first touch doesn't set you up well. Stop that outside your right foot and the defender is on his weaker side. Your body shape is all wrong and the shot is weak. You support Budgie well, and then go a little early for the ball from Sean, so are static rather than driving into the circle. When you pick it up, you take a second touch before making the pass. You need a little bit more patience on the support work and one touch pass. You're completely overcommitted and well out of position. You continue to chase the ball. You're one of the back three. You should have been sprinting back towards the sweeper position as the sweeper is having to come out and take your man. You need to bring a level of mental control into your game so you make good decisions on transition. You've just come on in the second half. When you get the ball, you start running left to right, then make a very weak attempted pass. You play that diagonal ball a lot. You do not react to transition or ball watching. You then go charging off to a wide man who's already covered, leaving the man in the middle completely unmarked. It's clear you're doing the wrong thing. You can hear the sweeper shouting at you, but you ignore that and end up refusing to accept the instructions from the sweeper. You must accept instructions from behind. Good support play, except you should have insisted on a drop ball rather than being isolated in the wing. How many defenders are there in the area you're going into? One of our main mantras is there's only one ball, we must have it. Why throw it away? What have you identified as your number one option here? Why pass to Andy on his reverse stick going away from goal? Did you not see the run of Alan Smith? You know I want to attack the head of the circle. That was the time for 2v1 with Alan heading for the top of the circle. At the end, why you're so close to Andy. Here you're able to use your fitness to good effect when you get to the top of the circle. You went a little early. Look at the reaction of the Belgian player when you run into his field of vision. Great working off the ball, but just add a little patience. Timing is everything. Good early ball to Keith, who's just come on. We have a bit of play around trying to force the ball and we get a free. Given it was tight, what was wrong with backing around? You need to make the right decision rather than the easiest one. Think about the pass, the one after next. We lost the ball immediately. A good simple pass to Andy, who can then move the ball back and around. Very simple but effective. No forcing required. We switch the play, and a classic piece of right half work sets the right forward free. Would have liked you a bit more in, but good link up play. Good, simple, quick decision. You take your time, you wait for a lead. Alan becomes free, you give him the ball. Very simple but effective. Good, simple, quick decision. Not a great pass from Sean, but no need to pass it on to Carl like that. You should have been able to nail the pass. Work on moving onto the ball on a first touch, which sets up a fast, accurate pass. Another straight aerial to a straight run is intercepted. You had a 2v1 with Andy. Why didn't you self-pass and head infield, making their player do something? Why throw it away? You could have given it to Sean early, so you could have played the less dangerous straight ball. Once Carl had made a bad decision, the diagonal ball became much more risky. You need to become more aware of the impact that actions of other players around you have on the game. Good supporting play here, and you're actually moving onto the ball. That shot has to go low. 2 men on the keeper, and you put the ball in the place where only the keeper can play it. You need to show more composure in the circle. Look for the easy team play rather than the individual spectacular one. You try to force the diagonal ball into the circle. Given it was tight, what was wrong with backing around? Always be considering the pass one after next. Another straight to straight aerial. The more we keep the ball, the easier attacking pass becomes. You need to make the right decision in aerials. Aerial into traffic. Carl's completely unmarked. What was wrong with backing around? We're down to 10 men, so we need to keep the ball. Andy's telling you to go back and around, but you go for an aerial and we lose possession. You need to make the right decision for the game situation rather than a flashy one. Well done in getting back. Poor pass from Carl, but you should have taken one touch and shifted it off to Budgie. You had time to see the pass as you went across to collect the ball. Work on playing with your head up and making that sharp pass. Again, you're in a good position, but you try to force it when you have Carl free square. The Italian missed it, but the English won't. You had time to see the pass options. You need to scan a much larger area of the pitch and not be so focused on the area directly in front of you. It is tight on the right, so you drop it out to Richard. How easy was that? I need to speak to Richard about his attempt, but your pass was very simple and effective. When Carl makes the pass, Andy's totally free just in front of you if you control it and play it quickly. You just throw an aerial for the heck of it. You need to respect possession a lot more. That's a really good support run. Late, on the move, heading towards the post. Real pity Alan hit Andy and not you with the pass. When the ball comes to you, play it, which means it takes much longer to come down. Then you play a bouncing pass towards Andy, which is initially picked. Look square, and what would you see? You need to be much calmer in and around the circle. You play a really simple pass away from the defence to a free man who's able to find one of our players in the circle. So simple, but so effective. well back, but the whole point of the fast break is one touch and get it forward immediately. You need to bring a level of mental control into your game. You don't panic when at first you can't see anything. You see Richard totally free. You need to put a bit more in that pass to give him a much better chance, but a good, simple decision. You start off very high, but get yourself back. Have you thought about your pass before you get it? Not sure the attempted crash ball from there is the right approach. You need to know where the ball is going before you get it, and then wait for a good option to appear. We have moved the ball around nicely. When it gets to you, decide to throw an aerial and we lose possession. There's no need to do anything that gives the ball away unnecessarily. Martin was free square. You really need to bring a level of mental control to your game. Martin calls you back to where you should be. Now Andy can give you the ball. We have full control, but you force a horrible in-the-air ball, which gives Richard no chance, and we turn over possession. Don't force it when it isn't on. You exchange passes with Andy, but instead of keeping it simple, you throw an aerial which is penalised by the umpire. Just keep it simple. You support the play well. You have an easy, safe pass back to the square. You play a massive long ball which would have been intercepted by a decent defender. You need to play the easy passes. You need to think about the risk-reward balance of things. Here, you have all the time in the world to look up and decide what to do. You go for the big glory diagonal ball, which I'm a fan of. Even a poor USA player is able to pick it. Keep it simple. You make a great run back to help Carl, but then you try to pass the ball through their player. Lucky not to be intercepted. The pass wasn't really on. You should have gone ball bum defender and then passed to Roger. If you're playing inside right, then one of the key roles is counter cover, protect the top of the circle. They move it right, you do not tuck in. One of their players drifts in behind Alan where you should be. Luckily for us, he fails to control it. Andy passes it to you and we're in a free. The counter cover work is one of Andy's big strengths, but as he was marking, someone else needed to do it. When you switch roles, which is fine, you need to do that role. You're leaving the pitch at 46-33 when we win a corner. You stay on the left to make the change once the corner is over easy. You don't swap immediately and end up tracking the whole way across the right half. It is 50:05 before you leave. When you are called, you need to get off at the first opportunity. You need to stay focused on getting off the pitch. Great composure bringing the ball out of the circle and not playing it to a man who's being closed down. The pass to David could have been a little more empathetic. You need to work on the quality of the pass. You get the ball from our head out, but a poor pass gives the ball away. Passing selection and accuracy is important. You need to work on the quality of the pass so it makes the next player's job easier. You don't need to be so far in front of your man. Plenty of pace in the pass, but it's inaccurate. It's that first touch again. You do well to support Richard, and you do well again to avoid the defender. Poor bubbly pass way in front of Robert. It was brought back for you lifting your stick over someone's head. You do a great job at getting in front of your man and intercepting it, but you failed to make a 5-yard pass onto Martin's open side. You should have been able to nail that pass. Work on moving the ball and a first touch which sets up a fast, accurate pass. Here you time your run onto the ball perfectly. You look up and see David completely unmarked in the circle, but your pass doesn't connect with him. You need to be able to execute the short, sharp, accurate pass. Here you're a bit wide, but you time your run well. Unfortunately, bubbly pass to Budgie is not picked up. It's that short, sharp, flat, accurate pass again. Clearly no pre-scan here. There are 7 USA shirts in the area. Roger is totally unmarked. Horrible bubbly attempted pass. Needs to go back and around away from the traffic. Good time run here into space, but is the ball to Henry the right one? Martin looks in a great position. You feed it to Henry instead. Look how many red shirts there are between Henry and our nearest player. When you get it back, you go wide, and then you force it into the circle where they have 6 to R1. From the free, look how simple it is to build up a nice piece of play. Andy gets it in the circle, but for some reason you end up running in behind Robert. Then you get in the way of Keith. You should be for the drop back ball or even slightly outside him to make defenders think, instead of which you've got two people marking each other. You need to think about making space for others rather than charging in where you hope the ball might go. The passage play starts with everybody holding the positions, but as play develops, you charge into the circle, chasing after the ball instead of holding a position at the top as I have done. You must not go charging into the middle of the circle, cluttering it up. We just get in each other's way. You need to keep the shape as this will increase the probability of team success. You will argue that you got the ball, and I'd respond by saying that if you'd been at the top, perhaps you would have had more time to pick up the ball and deal with it properly. You need to bring a level of mental control to your game. Do your job. Trust others to do theirs. Takes you a while to decide what to do with the ball, but the pass to Robert is fine. As the play develops, you should be providing the drop back ball for the man in front in the edge hand. You have a tendency to drift in towards the circle rather than providing the 90-degree drop pass. You need to get the game shape embedded in your mind. Stop watching the ball and think about where you need to be for the structure and the option pass. We took the ball downfield into the E channel, but you didn't come across to give us our 3 columns wide. If you'd been in the C channel and within 10 yards, Andy would have had the option to give you the ball. You need to constantly think about where you need to be for the structure. You're a little high and too wide when Roger takes a free. And although you make Sean's pass a bit longer than necessary, you do a good job at coming back to pick up the ball. If you'd been deeper, you could be moving onto the ball rather than back, which would have speeded up our exit. Keep the space in front of you. This is an area where you're able to use one of your big strengths, your speed. The forward player needs a back and around option, but you don't stay there. You drift into the circle. The ball is clear to where you should be. Sean picks it up. Look where Sean goes when he gives the ball to Budgie. This is what you should be doing. Watch the videos and record a mental picture of what you should be doing. You make a good supporting run, but head for the circle instead of giving a drop back ball. Remember where Sean went when he gave the ball to Budgie. Watch the videos and record a mental picture of what you should be doing. Here, Robert is looking for options. You remain patient and arrive at the right time on the right line. Happy you won a short, but if you'd let it come across you, you would have eliminated a defender, and it would have also opened passes to Budgie and Andy. But this is much more like it. Here you're too high, enabling the forward to effectively mark both you and Andy. If you drop deeper, he has to make a decision, opening up the space for the other one. Work on keeping that space in front of you. When that pass goes to Budgie, you make no attempt to get in behind him to give him an easy option. We didn't go back and around enough. Your positioning is key to this. Play develops, but you do not take a supporting position. There does not seem to be any communication between you and David. Both of you chase forward, and neither of you give Cliff a drop-out option. The key to not forcing the ball into the circle is providing a back and around option. You need to constantly think about where you need to be for the structure. You picked up the ball stationary, which gave the defenders much more time to react. By the time you have started dribbling, the defenders got the whole way across from the other side of the circle and is forcing you away from goal. This play was absolutely set up for you, coming in a bit later, narrower, and heading for the right post.